What is happening? So there you go, folks. Mopar Cold Air. I was able to set myself up with one of those. Good buddy of mine, LS1, that's WON, over at Instagram. He is a former Scat Pack owner. Friend of mine happened to have this part laying around and was able to score me a smoking deal on it, so I get you guys some testing on the Mopar part. Now, I have done a few things a little bit differently with this install that I'm going to go over. First thing that's going to be the most obvious is I am still running a vent to atmosphere filter on my PCV circuit. For you guys that may not know, the way that a PCV circuit works is that you're going to draw in air, at least through here. Typically it'd be through your airbox, but in this case through here. It'll go through the crankcase, out the PCV, in this case into a catch can, and then into your intake manifold. Now, under wide open throttle, it only acts as a vent, so it's just venting off any crankcase gases as well as that side. So what does that mean in this case? Well, if it's venting under wide open throttle, then you're going to be venting quite a bit of heat, potentially some blow-by, although so far with this filter, I haven't seen any contaminants or anything like that in that filter, but at any rate, you are still going to be venting heat. In this particular setup, and you'll see my air temperature sensor where that plug would normally go for the PCV inlet, and I'll get to that in a second, but it would just dump basically straight into the filter itself, and it would be unfiltered at that point, basically making it unfiltered crankcase ventilation going through my intake. Wasn't really feeling like that was a good idea, and it offered me an opportunity to try some new testing, which was to see what the temperature really is inside the filter, inside of the box. In this case, it worked out pretty well. I'm going to give this a shot, see if I can get you guys some data on that. The way that worked out, it's just got some of that foam holding the wires in place. It's that same window foam that you can get at any Lowe's or Home Depot. It sticks to everything. So at any rate, there it is. Got a little bit on this other side, looks a little janky, but I need to doll that up, but we'll get that sorted out. But again, that's mainly to get some data as far as, you know, air temperature inside of the box itself. This thing does have a seal on it. It's supposed to seal up to the hood. Don't know if that's going to be all that great of a seal, but again, just trying out some new things, trying out some new data. Had an idea, figured it might work. The last thing that I've done a little bit differently is, if you look here, you'll see this piece of, it's actually scrap silicone piping that I happen to have laying around. And this airbox, I don't know if you can see it very well. Anyway, it's got a hole in it from the factory. And if you've got a Challenger, then you can remove that headlight and it'll give you direct shot for fresh air. So you can see that filter hanging out in there. And what I've done is, if you can see, there's my hand right there. Basically, this is just curved in just enough to redirect a little bit of air into that box. So there's that in a nutshell. Just want to bring you guys up to speed. I will hopefully be able to get you guys some data on this here pretty soon, but it's rainy and nasty right now in beautiful H-Town, Texas. So when that opportunity is going to come, I have no idea, but I am looking forward to it. Now, as far as my overall thoughts on the kit, I don't know, man. You know, it's it's kind of funny to me. So first thing you'll notice is this cutout in the box right there. I'm not really sure what purpose that actually serves. And if nothing else, it might serve to allow some hot air in here, because there's your cooling fan, which is going to be dumping a lot of hot air all over the place. Another reason why I started doing the testing on air temperatures was because of the potential to heat soak. Oh yeah, by the way, my boot is plugged. So just to give you an idea, that's not just open, it's actually plugged. But at any rate, there's a lot of room for that hot air to move around in there, but we'll see. Again, not really sure what the purpose of that is. Another funny thing, just in doing this install, if you can see right there, I had to notch the rubber in that boot to get the clearance around that bolt so it would sit flush. Nice job, Mopar. Fit and finish even sucks on your aftermarket parts. Oh well. Looking forward to getting you guys some data on this. Not sure if it's going to be better than the Hellcat, but in looking at that filter, you know, it's got a pretty typical, you know, K&N style or, you know, AEM dry. This is actually a dry filter, but it's got a very similar style to those. And I'd like to compare that for you guys with the actual Hellcat filter itself, which I happen to have sitting right here. So the Hellcat filter, again, paper element, just like your stock, although it is a higher flowing filter. And I can tell you that you do get specs on that. I can't remember the exact flow numbers, but you guys can Google what gallons per second or whatever, grams per second, whatever that is, to CFM. I want to say it was something like 1100 CFM or something like that is what these things flow once you do the back math on it. So at any rate, those are the specs on a Hellcat filter. That's the part number you need if you want to get one for your car. It is an improvement over stock, although I don't know how much of an improvement it is, although my car does run 11s with this filter on it, 11s and 12.0s. They're pretty easy to distinguish. First of all, this will have the male name brand on it. It'll flow these numbers, and then you'll get these 3 stripes of hot glue going down the back. I'm assuming to make it a bit more rigid, but even in my car, these things have already cracked, so I don't know. Not sure if that does much good at all. But that's it. That's it in a nutshell. Hope this helps you out. And if you guys have any questions, post them up. Adios.